As the new year unfolds, make it a year of comfort and indulgence with Minky Couture. Wrap yourself in the lap of luxury with our exquisite blankets. Picture the cozy moments, the warmth of our premium materials, and the stylish designs that define Minky Couture. Welcome the new year with the ultimate in comfort and sophistication. January is your month to embrace luxury. Visit minkycouture.com or your nearest store today. Elevate your comfort, elevate your style with Minky Couture.
Try Cora's cult favorite period products without joining a cult. Cora offers modern period products like whisper-thin pads and liners with a breathable cotton top sheet and tampons made with 100% organic cotton. And with a full range of absorbencies, Cora's got you covered from heavy flow to barely there days. Try Cora today for a more comfortable period, clean and simple. Find Cora nationwide at Target, CVS, and online at cora.life.
The Celebrity Jobber Podcast with Jeff Zito. If you like what you hear, please subscribe, give a 5-star rating, and leave a review. Check out all our past episodes on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you pod. What if these celebrities weren't famous? What would they have become? What was their first job? We're about to find out.
We know her best as Kelly Kapowski from Saved by the Bell. Also Valerie Malone on Beverly Hills 90210. Still an actress, but she made a pivot. A little bit of a different career nowadays, which is pretty interesting. Ladies and gentlemen, Tiffani Thiessen, a.k.a. Tiffani Amber Thiessen, my guest this week on Celebrity Jobber. How are you?
Hey, good morning. Or afternoon almost for you.
Well, getting there. So were you in Tampa for that 90s thing?
No.
Oh, you weren't?
Not at all.
Okay, because I know both casts.
Those big crowds with lots of people, that's not my jam.
That's not your jam.
No, my jam is meeting people on a smaller scale. I just went on book tour. That was more my jam.
Right on. Well, I really am looking forward to talking to you. And I was, there's so much to get to, and what you're doing these days is really interesting. And I'd love to know how you got there. But I wanted to, kind of back up for a second and ask a little bit about your family and growing up. It said that your father was a park designer. That sounds pretty interesting. Can you tell me exactly what that was?
Parks and Recreations. He actually is a landscape architect, actually. And so he actually designed all the public parks in the city that he worked for. And so we were always the house on the street that had the best yard.
Oh, I bet. So was it just like public parks? Was it like golf courses or anything like that?
It was public parks, all the public parks in the city, yeah.
It's very, very cool. So you grew up in Southern California? Do you still?
I did. I grew up in Long Beach. I actually went to public school with Snoop Dogg, a.k.a. Calvin, and grew up a very modest, my dad, a lot of times, even in my early years, actually worked 2 jobs, so allowed my mom to stay home with us kids, and my parents still live in Long Beach. That's where they are.
How was Calvin in high school? Did you have a rapport with him or no?
He was definitely known, but he definitely wasn't as famous as he is now, of course.
Right. So tell me about the acting bug and how you got started, because I know that you were a very little kid and you got into commercials.
I was young. Yeah, it actually started when I was pretty young. I actually started modeling first before I stared acting. So I was doing a lot more print work for catalogs and different brands and stuff like that. And then it developed into doing commercials, and one of my very first commercials was for Barbie, and then from there I actually got into more of the TV side of it. And so it was a slow kind of a slow kind of career, starting, like I said, in print, and then went into TV.
So what was your very first paying gig?
My first paying gig was actually, I think, a catalog for, I want to say it was, and I'm trying to remember the department store, but I think it was called Buffett's, maybe? Is that what it was called? It was a long time ago. It was kind of like a Sears catalog, right? It was but it was another chain.
When I ask people what their first job was, a lot of them say babysitting, gardening.
Yeah, no, I didn't do that. I didn't have time. I was doing other stuff.
Well, no, your first job was in the business.
Job.
Yeah, that's kind of cool.
It was, yeah.
That's kind of cool. So would you consider from that first job, things slowly progressed into acting, and would you consider your big break being Saved by the Bell?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was definitely. That's why you look back and I was like really bad because they had no experience.
Well, I mean, but you did have experience. You didn't have experience, but you did. You know, you were kind of like in the program, right?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I just, as an actor, it's very different to do TV like that than it is just to do commercials where you have a couple lines, you know, and you're being fed what you're supposed to do. But yeah, that was my big break. I mean, it was huge. I just turned 15. It was a big deal.
And like from there, you did so much other TV stuff. And by the way, I just wanted to mention that I started watching with my wife 90210 again from the very beginning because she's a little younger than me and she missed it. I graduated high school in 93, so it was like you guys were, the exact same age as me. So I started watching from the beginning. But we just started watching from the beginning. And I got to tell you, a lot of shows don't hold up. This one does. I mean, it does.
That's good to know.
It's really good. Now, we haven't gotten to Valerie Malone yet because, you're.
Yeah, I came in later. I want to say that was season 5.
Yeah, so I'm in 4 right now. So you're getting there. I'm getting there. I can't wait. So look, we've done all this acting stuff, and I think it's so interesting to see where and how you pivot into food and cooking.
Yeah, I mean, it's the people who know me know that I've had a passion for food since I was young. I loved cooking with the women in my family, and as I started to travel for a lot of those TV shows, my love of food just kind of blossomed when I got to be exposed to different cuisines and different cultures as I was traveling. And so food has always been a huge passion of mine, and I've just been very lucky to kind of carve out a second career in food. And, this is my second cookbook called Here We Go Again. It's out now, and I also have a huge passion for food waste and that cause and how, as a society, we waste about 40% of food, which is massive. It's kind of mind-boggling to think how much we waste and the impact we have on our environment. And so I wanted to really do a book about how we can better, save our food and not waste it, as well as, food's expensive right now, and the budget, of going to the grocery store is like no other. And so I think it could really help people kind of look at what they have in their fridge and their pantries in a new light.
So did you go to college, Tiffani?
I didn't. No,
you didn't?
I didn't actually.
Okay,
no,
so I was going to
high school actually as valedictorian. I was a very good student.
Wow.
I loved school, but I never got the chance because I was working.
Yeah, you didn't really have to.
I told myself that I would go back if I ever felt the need later on, but I haven't felt the need just yet. Maybe when I'm 60.
I think you're good.
I don't know.
I was going to ask if you majored in any type of food, or in high school were you interested in food?
Well, no, in high school, I was tutored most through high school. I only did one semester of high school before I was pulled and actually tutored on set. So I sadly didn't get to go to a normal high school like a lot of people. I was tutored all through the rest of high school.
So food just kind of came to you just later in life. It became a passion of yours.
No. I actually, like I said, food was always something I loved to do as a kid, and loved to cook with my family, and used to love entertaining with my friends as I got into my 20s. And so food was always around me. Food was always something I was passionate about. I never made a living out of it.
Right. So tell me a little bit about your favorite kind of food.
Oh gosh, that's hard. That's like picking a favorite child.
Right.
Look, I'm a Southern California girl, so of course Mexican food is very much a huge part of my childhood and my growing up, and I love Mexican food. But I also really love French, and I love Japanese cuisine because we live in California and we get fresh fish all the time. So it's hard to pick. It's hard to pick a favorite, I have to say.
What do you feel like you're best at cooking? What kind of cuisine?
I'd say very much probably California cuisine because I'm a true California girl, sixth generation in California, and I live in a home that has chickens, and we grow lots of fresh produce and stuff. So I'm very fortunate and lucky to have that kind of at my disposal when I want. I was just picking fresh figs the other day and figuring out what I'm going to do with them. It's fun.
This episode of the Celebrity Jobber Podcast is brought to you by BetterHelp. That's Better, H-E-L-P. Do you ever feel like your brain is getting in its own way? So just a few weeks ago, my dog passed away. And it was a pretty traumatic event for both me and my wife. I started getting anxious, having some panic attacks. I don't know if you've been through that kind of stuff before, but I have years ago. And I really didn't know what was causing these panic attacks. I actually thought I was dying until a doctor recommended that I talk to a therapist, and turned out I had some problems that I needed to talk about. So since then, I'm kind of a big fan and an advocate of therapy. So I'm here to tell you, if you're thinking of starting therapy yourself, I want you to give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online. It's designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. So you just got to fill out a brief questionnaire and get matched with a licensed therapist, which, by the way, you can switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. Make your brain your friend with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/jobber today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/jobber.
The podcast playground. Hooray!
What was your very first, food and cooking gig? Was it that MTV? You did that Deliciousness?
No, I had a cooking show on Food Network called Dinner at Tiffani's and it was on for about 3 seasons on Cooking Channel and Food Network. That was my first big TV food.
And how did you get hooked into that? Because did you just let people know that you had a passion for food? You're already kind of in the business.
I walked into the network. I was shooting another show called White Collar while I was in New York, and I walked in there and I pitched them a show, and they apparently thought it was cool. So
wow.
I started it. Yeah.
Who's gonna say no to Tiffani Thiessen? You know what I mean? You walk in, you say, "Hey, I want to do this," and then all of a sudden they go, "Okay." And that's I'd say that's kind of par for the course. I get it. Tell me a little bit about Deliciousness. Is that it was it's so funny. You're on TikTok all day. We're watching these videos where a guy's taking a Pringles can, he's putting some Velveeta cheese in there, he's putting some ground beef.
It's really funny how TikTok is really blown up with the food space.
It is,
really
isn't
fun.
it?
Hence why I got on in such a late fashion. I felt like I was, late to the party, but it's been really fun to be a part of it now.
Is there another season of that coming out soon?
Oh, for Deliciousness?
Yeah.
Not as of yet. I hope so. We've done, I think, 3 or 4 seasons of that now, and so we'd love to do some more. It's a great show, super fun. I mean, to be on a show where you're surrounded by funny people talking about food, it's kind of perfect for me.
So your new book, let's just talk about that again. It's called Here We Go Again. And this is dealing with what you've already have in your fridge?
Correct.
Okay.
So it's really I wanted people to understand that they probably could look at this book as a way of inspiring themselves with ingredients that they already have in their fridge and their pantry, and to really help with food waste.
It's so funny because I go to Costco. I'm such a big Costco fan. And then, you have something in the freezer where it's like getting near, not expiration, but you're like, boy, that's been in there for a long time. So maybe I pick up this book and I could whip something up.
I think you could use it. If you're a bulk buyer, then you definitely could use it.
Yeah, I'm a bulk buyer and an empty nester. So,
you definitely need it.
Do you have anything coming up, Tiffani, like acting stuff?
Book. I just finished a book tour. I was doing a big tour. I was doing 4 or 5 cities in the last week, and so I'm finishing off some press here for the book and trying to get people to know that it's out there.
And now that the writer's strike is over, do you have any movie stuff or TV stuff?
Well, that's the thing. We're still striking with SAG. So no movement just yet, but we're hoping that the SAG strike will be over soon.
Can you quickly explain that to people that don't understand it? Because some of us...
So, the writers striked first, which halted every sort of production. And it really wasn't just the writers who were striking. It was the actors. It was all the crew members. We all had to be, together in that, and it halted everything. No movies, no TV, nothing. And so now that the writer's strike has finished, still nothing is really happening except the writers can go back and start writing. And a lot of the probably late night shows that you're seeing and daytime talk shows are back, which is great because the writers are back. But as actors, we are still not done. So we cannot do anything yet until the SAG strike is finished, which we're hoping is going to be done soon.
Okay. Well, hopefully that does end soon because a lot of us are getting bored with watching the same
reruns.
Crime drama CSIs.
Yeah, right? Agree.
Oh, man. Well, look, I'm definitely, first of all, I just want to say, you're a great guest. Obviously you do this for a living, but, so do I. And I talk to a lot of people. You're great. You're great, man. You're on the ball. So maybe I'm sucking up.
You're great as well, and you made it very easy for me.
Maybe I'm sucking up a little bit, Tiffani, but can anybody blame me out there? Her book is called Here We Go Again. And if you're a bulk buyer from Costco like me and you got a bunch of stuff in the freezer that you're about ready to throw out, maybe you pick up this book and somebody in the house can hopefully make a gourmet meal out of it. I know I can't, but hopefully my wife will be able to give it a try. But great. Best of luck. How about your socials?
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Do you want to plug any of your socials or anything?
Oh, yeah. No, I'm on all the socials now. I'm on Instagram, Facebook for a while, and I definitely just got on TikTok probably in the last few months, which has been really fun. This old lady's on TikTok now, so it's been fun to do the social thing. Yeah, and you can definitely find me. It's just my name, Tiffani Thiessen.
And when did you drop the Amber? When did that go away?
Oh, gosh. It's not that it's dropped. It's my legal name. I just don't use it professionally and haven't for probably 30 years now or 25 years now.
I had a hard time really keeping it out of the interview here.
That's okay. It's still my name. I just don't use it. That's all.
Well, you never know. Some people would bite my head off if I did something like that. So you're very understanding. I appreciate it.
Oh, I appreciate you.
Thanks, Tiffani. Have a great day.
Thanks, honey. Have a good rest of your day.
Bye-bye. Okay, look, a little sucking up, I admit it, okay? But it's Kelly Kapowski, for God's sakes. Can you give me a break, all right, for a second? I'm human. So Tiffany's first job happened to be, wasn't sure. I tried looking it up. She said maybe Buffett's. It was like a department store. It was like a Sears catalog. That was her first paying gig, being, a print ad as a model, as a little kid in one of these department store catalogs. A lot of the celebrities that I talk to, I ask what their first job was, and it's fast food or gardening, working at a restaurant, babysitting, etc. Tiffany's first paying job was actually in showbiz as a model, as a young kid. And of course, her big break, which we all pretty much knew, Kelly Kapowski, Saved by the Bell, that pretty much introduced her to the world. She was on, in all of these teen magazines, Heartthrob as a teenager. And she says she was like kind of shocked because she had no experience. And when she watches some of those Saved by the Bell episodes, she thinks it's terrible. But, her saying she had no experience doesn't really kind of line up because she had been in the business, in the modeling biz and kind of, in the program, if you will, for a while. So, that's kind of how it happens. So the interesting part of this whole interview, to me is sometimes when we talk to celebrities about their first job and their first job happens to be what we know them for, not exactly the case with Tiffany, but, still her first job was in showbiz. But I really find interesting the transition from being an actress, which she still is, to, being like a celebrity food person. She's written cookbooks, she's had cooking shows, and basically how she got those gigs was she was shooting something else, walked into somebody's office and said, hey, this is the food division of the network. I like food. I'm Tiffani Amber Thiessen, Kelly Kapowski. I want to do a cooking show. And they looked at her and they go, okay. And that's how it happened for her. It's not that easy for everybody, but if you got it, you got it. Just a sidebar, pretty cool that she went to high school with Snoop Dogg. I kind of think so, no? Calvin Brodus was a little different in high school than the OG D-O-double-G that we know today. So thanks so much for listening, everybody. Past episodes are up on celebrityjobber.com. If you like this podcast, please I'd appreciate a 5-star rating, leave a review, follow us on Instagram, the Celebrity Jobber Podcast, and subscribe. That's right. All you have to do is hit that subscribe button, and every episode as it's released automatically appears right there on your phone or wherever you listen to your podcast. Apple Podcast, Spotify, wherever you pod. So that'll do it for this week's episode of Celebrity Jobber. Thanks again for listening. We'll see you next week. I'm Jeff Zito.